Hey guys, first tutorial for 2017. Happy New Year everyone. Today I want to show you how to create a black and white film look using Lightroom. Now black and white images are becoming more and more popular. There was a while there where we hardly saw any black and white images in the media, but these days it's becoming more and more popular. I've seen a lot of it in alternative media, and I think it's going to become more mainstream over the next couple of years. So you see these sorts of filters on a lot of popular apps like Instagram and Snapseed and a lot of other different places. The filters and presets and actions are great, but the problem is that they're generic, and the one size fits all approach doesn't always suit our shooting style or images. So I'm going to show you how you can customize a Lightroom action to suit your own images, how you can add grain to your images to give that black and white film look, and how you can use the tone curve to also create a matte look to your images, and how to tweak the individual tonal areas in your images using the color slider, and that you can apply to landscapes, portraits, and lots of different images. So let's dive straight in, shall we? So let me just get all my little panels up. Alright, so on the screen now I've got a couple of images. I've got the before and after of an image that I shot in Cuba, and on the left hand side of the screen you can see the image, how I would normally process it, adding a bit of grunge, desaturating the colors, and I've taken that image, and basically all I've done is apply one of my preset 2017 film look, which I will be giving you all of these filters as all these presets as this month's Lightroom preset giveaway. So you'll get an entire film look pack. Basically, the main difference between digital and the film look is, if we zoom in pretty close, you can see that, or my simulated black and white film look. When we look at a digital image, let me go to a studio image. It's going to be a lot easier to show you the difference. So let's have a look at this image here. So typical studio shot image. The quality of a digital image, when you compare them to a black and white print, you can see the quality is the difference here. So you're going to see generally a better tonal range, a better black in the image, crisper whites, generally digital images, when I compare them to the black and white shots that I took, are much sharper these days. So a lot of the film images that I took, say 20 years ago, weren't as crisp as the digital images that I shoot today. So there's a general pristineness and perfection to the images, which is great, which is a great thing. But with the revival of all things 90s at the moment, and all the nostalgia that's going on, people are kind of turning away from that clean, crisp look, and you're going to see a lot more sort of gritty, grungier looks to photos, and people are going to be looking to put more imperfections in their images, and grain is one of those, and things like light leaks. And it's when you look at something that's really beautiful and aged, the nostalgia about the image has to do with more so with the imperfections. So when you see a classic car or an old building, it's the fact that it's not pristine and polished looking that in my opinion, makes it more attractive. And so the converting digital files to that film look, adding the grain, adding some imperfections is kind of trying to emulate that look of the film. So we've got the digital file here, and what I've created is a whole series of black and white presets that sort of copy the look and feel of black and white, and I've also created some presets that add some things like light leaks and extra grain. So if we go to one of the images, let's go back to the start. So this is an image that I shot in Cuba, and here it is as the digital version of the file. I sort of add a bit of grunge, desaturate, but you can see in this image there is a good black, even if I've crunched it up. That's sort of the grungy way I like to process my images. And so with these presets, if you're going to be using them, I would suggest that you do some basic editing to your image, get it to the spot that you kind of like it, and then have a play around with the different presets. And you'll notice that there are different degrees of grain in them, and also I've added a whole series of light leaks as well, so that just adds to that imperfection of the image. So it's basically just a matter of applying the image and the grain increases as you go down the list. So like BB would be the lowest in grain. CB is a little bit higher, and DB is more grain and a bit coarser. And coarser still, and I'm also adding more contrast as I go along. Now, every image that you shoot is going to be slightly different, and so you're going to find that the presets are not going to look exactly like they do on my images. So it's good to know what's happening to the file in the preset, so that when you apply it to your own, you're going to know the areas that you need to tweak just to make it look exactly the way that you envisaged it. And it's no different to when we used to print in the darkroom. The kind of paper that we used, and also the amount of contrast that we applied, and the way that we processed the film and the prints made a huge difference to the look and feel of the image, and also how much you process the image. So the amount of burning and dodging you do is also going to change the look and feel of the image. So don't be afraid to play with the different sliders. Once you've added the desired black and white filter to the top, you can then add, I've added some light leak filters, so you can just go down, and if you want to just make it look a little bit grungier, you can add one of the different light leaks. So this one's got two, one in the corner and then one down the bottom end. Light leaky 4 is just down one side. And then I've also created some color ones as well. So we've got Leaky 76, which just gives it an old film color look with the grain, with the light leaks. And then there's Leaky 76 Max, which just has some extra light leaks. So all in all, it's got that grungy feel and look to it. So in terms of doing this yourself to your own images, and what are the qualities of a black and white file and converted to look like film, basically so you start with the file the way that you'd normally process it, or you can start with a raw file. I just think it's easier to get all your levels the way that you would normally process them. And so let's have a look at this one. So on this image, I've created a grayscale across the top because I want to show you exactly what's happening when I use the tone curve to adjust an image. So on an image like this, when you look at a black and white file, and so let's just convert this one to black and white. The look of a black and white image is that it doesn't actually have a true black. Generally, the black tones are slightly muted, a lot matter. So if I do a click balance on the blacks there, you're going to see that there isn't a black in that image, and that is really the look of black and white. So if you try and get it looking too pristine, it's not going to have that same look. So it's got that matte quality. And obviously you can see things like grain in the background. Now if I wanted to, I could drop the amount of grain and make it a bit softer, and all the way up to BB, which is like the softest version. It's still there, but you're not seeing it quite as much. So you can still see it there in the background, and that's kind of the most subtle nod to black and white. So that's the look and feel. Now if we go back to our digital file, the way I create this is by leveling out the images and using a tone curve to do that. So to create a matte looking image, basically you click on this little icon here, and that brings up your tone curve. It's just under the in the develop module under the basic module, and basically the easiest way to do this without having to explain the why or the where, which is just quite complicated. I think this will show you exactly what's happening with the tone curve. Is you can see these little crossbars here, the little graph. If you just click on each of those, all right, and that's setting your different points. This first one is doing your blacks. The second one is doing your shadows. That's your midpoint. That's your lights. And this one is for your highlights. And then basically the look of black and white film is we are losing the black, we're flattening it out, so which means that basically the image is going to have less contrast. So have a look at the bars up the top. You can see I've got the black and it goes all the way down. If I go up, if I bring this up, you can see what's happening to our tones. And you can see it in the image, but you can also see it in the bars at the cross. We are starting to, the difference between the black and all the different versions of grey that we have down the grey scale are starting to become less and less. So the further I pull that up, the less of a black I'm getting, and the less contrast I have in my image. So the difference between the whitest white and the blackest black is diminishing as I slide this first point up and down. So basically what I do is just slide it up so that I get the sort of the matte look that I want. So around about there. Then I go to my shadow and do the same thing. Just slide it up a little bit. Leave the middle point alone, and just bring my whites down a little bit. So again, it's just flattening the image off, and I can do that with my highlights as well. So you can see that I go from having the pristine white background to just like a slight a greyish look to the background. Alright, then I'm going to convert the whole image to black and white, and then it's just a matter of playing with the different sliders. So sometimes I like to have a little bit more shadow in there, open up the shadows, give it a little bit of black, bring in some clarity. So it's kind of like I'm going the other way, undoing everything that I've done. But you can see that, like, there's the before, there's the after. You can see in the tones there that I've really lost. You've got a lot less crispness in the images there, so it's really got more of that flatter, matter look to it, and that's what we're trying to achieve. All right, so once you're happy with the look of the tones of your image, you probably want to tweak and either lighten or brighten certain areas. So underneath the tone curve, you've got the black and white mixer here, and you'll see that just to the left of the word black and white mix, you've got this little button, and if I hover over it, it becomes two arrows, and when I hover away, it's just a little button. So if I click on that and bring it over to an area that I want to lighten or darken, and basically have a look at the panel over here. As I hover over an area, you'll see that it's highlighting the area that's going to be affected. So basically it tells you what the original color was when the image was a color image, and if you move that slider up or down, you can either lighten or darken a particular tone. So you can see that if I hover over this guy's face, Guyton's face here, it's predominantly orange because the orange slider is highlighted. So if I either drag up or down, you can see the orange and a little bit of red moving around, but I can, just targeting those tones, I can lighten the skin tone a little bit just to give it a better look, because black and white, because we're flattening everything out, I generally don't like what it does to the skin tones. I don't like the skin tones looking too grey, so that's just going to brighten them up. So that's one thing that I'll do. I'll use that technique to tweak the skin tones. So this technique is actually really cool when you're doing landscapes as well and converting them to black and white. So if I show you this image here, we might just apply one of the filters to that. Alright, so I've converted this one here to the basic black and white using the lowest grain possible. Now you can see that the image to my eye is looking quite flat, and I've also lost the detail in the sky, like it's looking really washed out. Now if I use this technique where I just click on the button, drag it over to my sky, you can see that if I click on that, you can see the blue slider and the aqua slider. If I go down, I can really pull down the sky and make it a lot darker. I can do the same with my mountains or those areas that I wanted to, and I can lighten or darken uh, certain areas in the shot if I wanted to, just to create more contrast in the image. So it's a great way to darken skies and selectively target different images, and then I'd probably add a lot more clarity to that image and probably go all the way and pop in a bit more contrast too. So back to the portrait that I was working on. So I've selectively adjusted the skin tones there. I like how it's all looking. The next thing I want to do is add some grain to the image. So it's the grain that's going to really finish off and give it that film look. So before I add it there, the easiest way to show you how grain works is just to show you on a grey image without any detail on it, so you can see exactly what the different sliders do. So if we scroll all the way down under lens correction in effects, we've got and it's under the vignette sliders. We've got some sliders for grain. So you've got the amount, you've got size, and you've got roughness. So the other size and roughness won't be affected unless you move the amount. So there you have the image with 0, and as we go up, you can see that you get extra grain there, and if I go up to 100%, you can see what's happening there. So basically on grain alone, the default at 25 and 50 gives you a sort of a digital look to the grain, and it's simulated grain basically, which isn't exactly how film looks. So doing this on its own, I don't think does a good enough job. But if you change the size of the grain, we start to see something really interesting happen. And then if we change the roughness of the grain and zoom back, you're going to see that that's looking a lot more textured, and it has a bit more roughness and a regularity. It doesn't look like it's all uniform, which you would never see on a film image. So the other thing I want to show you is, let's just take the roughness back. At the If you look at the if we have the amount at 100 and the size at 100, and I'm just going to bring that right up here. I want to show you, actually I'll get the roughness right up. I want to show you what happens when I turn the size down. So just have a look at what happens to the file. I might just go up a bit more. Now, just watch, and I'll go up. So at 45, you can actually see that size also affects sharpness of the image. So at 100, it's actually the image is looking quite soft, and when we go back to 0, you can see that the grain is really sharp. So the amount slider gives you a uniform look to the grain. Adding size increases the size of the grain, but also increases the softness of the grain. So it adds a soft quality to the image, and roughness increases the randomness of the file. So it's somewhere within that combination. You need to find a sort of an area that suits you, and then go back and look at it at 100%, and that's how you're going to get a good indication of what it looks like. So if we're looking at sort of more traditional films that are being used today, you're going to see the grain quality is kind of a bit more uniform, and something kind of about like that. And that's how it looks. And then if you want to make your images look a bit grungier, you can increase, I think, the roughness, uh, have less of an amount, and keep the size less, and you're going to get more of a filmic look to your images. So that's what they do. So I suggest you have a play around, and to get the look that suits your particular image. So with this, I'm going to come in quite tight, and just have a play around, have a check out what the background's doing. So I actually like to have the grain looking rough and irregular, which sort of gives more of a film look. Lower the amount of grain, and sort of play with the size. And that, to me, that actually really reminds me of an image that I would have shot using film. Something like maybe on Tri-X. So there you go. There's basically the three different components to getting a good looking, converting a digital file to look like film. And so you can see, have a play around with the different filters, the different presets that I've created, and I think you'll be hooked. I know I certainly am. I'm really loving what it does to the images. I'm a bit obsessed, so you can expect to see a lot of a lot more black and white coming out from me, and I kind of really like adding the little imperfections as well, and what it does to the images. So I think it's a lot of fun, and well worth exploring. And finally, I just want to show you how to save a preset if you've created one and you're really happy with it, and you'll find that what you do repeatedly to your images, it's generally consistent, and you don't want to have to be remembering what you did to every image, or you're developing a consistent style. Then develop your own preset and save it. I mean, I've got thousands of them that I've created, and I actually have different client presets that I save to give each client a look when I process their files, and so that when they give me a new shoot to do, I know that when I process the files, they're going to look exactly the same color balance, same contrast, clarity, adjustments that I've done to all their images in the past. So let's go back to the image that we're working on. So if I'm happy with the look and feel, I might, I think I've got something quite different, so we'll add this to the, so just tweak it a little bit more. I might also add a bit more clarity to this one. Just up the contrast. So once I'm happy with the look, so there's before and after. What you do is under the navigator. So I'm happy with everything I've done to this image. So now we can actually save every single action that I have added to this image as a preset, and then I can apply that to any images that I want to after that. So in the presets drop down menu, you'll see that there's a little plus sign. Basically, I click on that, and it gives you an option to name your preset. So I'm going to name this with the same protocol as I've named all the other presets, and we'll call that DB1. Oops. One. And then you've got an option to add it to a folder. So the default is user presets, but you can also have the option, if you scroll all the way up to the top, to create a new folder. So I think it's a good idea to group your presets. So if you're creating black and white presets, then maybe make a new folder, call it black and white presets. I've got client presets, all different presets created here, but this one I'm going to add to my 2017 film look. So that's the preset name. It's going into 2017 film look preset, and then you have the option of adding all the adjustments that you've made to that image, or only some of the adjustments. So in this case, I want to add all the adjustments that I've made to this image. So they're all checked, and then I hit create, and basically I now have my new preset will recreate exactly what I just did to that image. So if I go back and go back to the start, I can now just reapply what I did, and there it is, all in one spot. And I can also try and add it to maybe another image and see if it works. And there you go, completely different image. It doesn't suit the style of that image, so it'll need to be tweaked, or I'll need to use a different preset for that image. And this one is perfect for that image. So that's a sort of a grade 3 style high contrast image, which I really like. So there you go. That's basically how to convert a digital file to look like a black and white image that was shot on film.